So hopefully we will go
Okay, so
live
do
then.
a little. Can you do a quick recap for the YouTube guys because they just joined us?
Okay.
And we have Alex and the Hub Apple Dorn, and hello to you guys.
Yeah, I will do a quick recap, and for you YouTube guys, thanks for joining us YouTube. So,
Oops.
my name is Steinar Holøs, this is Henning Pedersen, and we are MakeKit. MakeKit maker-friendly DIY kits for the microbit, perfect for education and getting the sense of achievement. Now, back to some stories. I was telling a few stories from the workshop that we have been doing. So if you jump directly to Julia. So this is the type of girl that you would normally find maybe on the side of the classroom, a little bit quiet, don't get that much attention in the day-to-day education. But when we did the workshop, we saw that she was really finding her own place, and she really needed the opportunity to shine. And this is what she got through this workshop. So it works for like those who fall out of the regular education, like the boy I was talking about earlier, and it also works for those who really needs a place to shine, a place to achieve. Now, why is that? The biggest reason why we think that the WonderKit system works so well is that it is cross-curriculum. So here are some skills and traits and subjects that you touch upon. Now, if you are a teenager now, you might not be so interested in coding or math, but maybe what will capture your interest are design, craftsmanship. And if you find that interesting, you can do that, and you will still touch upon those other subjects, and maybe you will find some sense of achievement in those subjects. And the probability of finding that achievement and finding the joy in coding and math will be so much higher if you're already having fun with what you're doing. Okay.
Any questions from the Facebook page, Mister?
No questions yet.
Okay, so you can just, guys, if you have any questions whatsoever, whenever, just type it in, and our producer, Henrik, will share them with us.
Yeah. And this summer, we even have had some visitors from the politicians, proving that even politicians can learn how to code. So it was the Prime Minister of Norway, Erna Solberg, at that time. She got to try out the WonderKit system and making her own kits at the workshop this summer. So that was kind of awesome. Well, we have a discount code for you. Should we take that now?
Sure.
Yeah, I think we can do that. So, if you use the code MakeKit Live, you get 50% off on all Microbits products today.
In where?
In our shop. I can share. I will share the link in the chat with you.
MakeKit.no.
MakeKit.no, and I will share the link so you can check it out. So 50% off to all who view this broadcast here. So big thanks to all of you.
Impressive.
All right, let's move ahead. So how long is it since we introduced the HoverBit? It has gone through some changes, and we are now launching the HoverBit 2. Now, this is a super fun hovercraft, and I want to show you a quick video so you can see what this is all about.
Kanskje de som gjorde den greia etter den her.
Har du lyst til det?
Ja.
So now we have one more video.
It's actually a page.
Yeah, a page that we can show you.
So the cool thing about what you guys out there are doing is we find more and more people that are taking our products and using it for totally new things and doing changes, modifications, and using it for for creating your own style and doing things the way you like to do things. So the hover bit is based on wood, right? But one guy in France, he has a 3D printer. So what he did was, so he started with a regular hover bit from cardboard, as you can see, and then he actually designed his own parts from scratch and 3D printed everything and created a tutorial. And then the result looks like this. So it's actually quite cool. And this is his project. We can post the link to it. And he's describing the whole process and sharing all his CAD files. And I think this is just a way to have users, generating content and methods for using the products further. Also, what we did with the Hoverbit 2 is that we redesigned the control board. So the PCB that is under the microbit, we redesigned it from scratch. So now it's much easier to code, and it's much easier to use the board for other things. And it also made the product a lot cheaper. So Hoverbit 2, one of the biggest changes is actually the price. And this goes for the Airbit 2 as well. It's a lot. The price is a lot lower, which makes it more accessible and yeah, easier to get hands on. Basically, you don't necessarily have to break the bank to get a class kit anymore.
Yeah. Now I want to talk a little bit also about what's the difference between Hoverbit version 1 and version 2. So the version 1 was primarily based around the Airbit controller card or circuit board, while the Hoverbit 2 has its entirely own circuit board that is designed specifically for the Hoverbit. And what that does is that it makes it easier for you to code, and you get access to the entire code, and you can change it, modify it more directly.
Yeah, so it gives you much more direct control compared to the first one. And this is the kind of a red what do you say, yellow brick road common topic here, because this goes for the Airbit 2 as well. So we will get back to the Airbit 2 very soon and see what is the big difference, but I can tell you that control is a very important part of that.
Yeah. And
so that's the control board, yes.
Yeah.
In case you didn't see.
Yeah. Now there is another thing that is quite cool with this also, that's probably going to benefit you there at home. So the cool thing is that we managed to also lower the price, making it more accessible. Let's see if something happened there. There we go. No, this is not the right one. There we go. So we have managed to lower the price quite significantly, and that's a huge thing. That will be this price will, if it's not already updated on the web shop, it will be well in the next 30 minutes. So let's move ahead to maybe the most important segment of today, because we promised you a new path for the microbit. Now, what's that all about? You may wonder.
Drum loop. Okay, so we have to go back to Airbit 1 first. So okay, so how did we design Airbit, the first Airbit? So we had an expert in drone control boards, and that's the computer that stabilizes the drone. We had a leading expert in designing those boards to design drone board, the computer, and it was running its own code. So basically it was running its own code that was open source. It's called Betaflight, and this code is very, very, very advanced and is very inaccessible, as you might say, because it was running inside the control board. It was very hard to change this code, which meant that the control board always acted as a drone. So when we installed it into the hovercraft, it still acted as a drone. So if you were to if you had like a boat like this, and if it tilted to the side, it would think that it was a drone. It would make the motors go faster, try to compensate. But because it's not a drone, it would do things it shouldn't do. So what we did for Airbit 2, what we totally redesigned the whole control board from scratch. We throw out the whole Betaflight code, and we created our own code directly in MakeKit. This means that now you have access to 100% of the code that is doing all the work on the drone. So let me just show you. This is the Airbit 1, and this is Airbit 2. So from the looks, it's kind of similar and kind of different at the same time. We have some changes on the looks of it, but the really big difference is under the hood, as they say. And I can show you some of the new features. So we have, first of all, we have a stronger frame that is tweaked. It's lighter weight, and then it gives you a bit more flight time. We also had feedback that it was hard to get connection between the microbit and the control board, so we had machined a new kind of connectors that is much easier to install, and it's much easier to tighten the screws. And even now with the microbit, the new drone, even the microbit will tell you if there is no connection, because now we have full control over everything we do. So if one of these connections come loose, and it means that the microbit cannot talk to the control board anymore, microbit will actually know, and it will actually tell you what to do. So it's just there's this on the screen. It will say, please tighten this screw number 3, for example, which is just more user friendly. And let's see what more fun we have. We have a much faster charger, so the battery will now charge in less than 1 hour. And we have also now we have only one kind of motors, because before we had two kinds of motors. We have the clockwise and the counterclockwise motor, and it was harder to know what motor to put where. Also now if you break a motor, you can have a spare motor, and this can be a red and blue motor, and doesn't matter which motor you break, you can replace it with the same motor. You don't have to have two different replacement motors, which is great because the repairability is always key to us. Drones, unfortunately, they do crash. Sometimes they break. we are trying to avoid damage, but sometimes you can't avoid damaging like a motor. So then it's just easier now to fix that and replace a motor. We have also now much better sensor support, which I will talk a little bit more about the new sensor that we're using. So we have found the latest gyro sensor with altitude meter, which is, those sensors are getting better and better all the time. So for Airbit 2 we'll be able to detect difference in pressure that is as low as 8 centimeters, which means that the drone will maintain its altitude at a very high precision, so it will not move more than this. And using accelerometer you can have even better, more precise altitude hold. And this makes the drone a lot easier to fly because it will maintain its altitude automatically. You can concentrate on the roll and the pitch, so it's one less thing to worry about and easier to fly the drone. And when you have an altitude meter, you can even have, start imagining other fun stuff you can use a pressure sensor for. If you want a weather forecast, you can install a weather forecast in your drone if you want, or if you want to build it to convert it into something totally different, you can now do that. And before I talk about the code, I would just talk about those possibilities. So one of the possibilities that you have is that you can now rebuild it into a totally different kind of drone. Because if you see this on this drone, the microbit is facing forward. It is front facing, right? Normally the microbit is resting with the screen up. But with the new code and the new ways that we can change everything on the, we can change everything we want. So now we can even tell that the drone to be upwards, and to create something totally different way of flying drone. And this drone you can also imagine having a little hook under, so it can have a long wire. So if you would imagine a long wire, something hanging out under the drone, and you can even release that with a little servo.
So that basically means totally new ways of being creative with the drone.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We have actually a question that will maybe smart to take now. So it's a question about MicroPython.
Yeah.
And goes for both Hoverbit and Airbit, I guess. If you want to...
What's the question?
Basically, if it works with MicroPython.
Yes, it will work. It will work great with MicroPython. We just need to develop the code for it. So if you're out there and you really love MicroPython, and if you want to help, you can already now, letting us know that you will be interested in contributing to this code. We are still a small company, even that we are bigger than the last time we released a drone, but we're still a very small company, and we have limited time to write code for the different languages. So if you're out there and want to help, we can send you the code for the JavaScript, and then you could start working on the Python code for it. That would be really great. But yes, it will work great in MicroPython, because MicroPython is actually a little bit faster than the MakeCode platform. So whatever works in MakeCode usually works great in MicroPython as well.
Cool.
Yes. So where should we go to? I don't know if you guys saw this sensor, if I forgot to...
No, they saw that sensor. But I don't know if they saw this one.
Yes. So one of the other options that you guys will have now is the Hoverbit. This is based on the Hoverbit, but what we did a little slight modification. So we had 2 motors pushing forward instead of the 1 motor that you had before. So on the left you see the traditional Hoverbit with 1 motor, but because the kit comes with 2 motors, right? So you can use both of them to push forward, and you get twice the speed because now we have twice the motors, right?
And this is, of course, the Hoverbit Catamaran.
Yes.
And you can watch some cool videos on YouTube when we drive this one around, and we really recommend that as a project to go further with the Hoverbit.
Yes, this is available as a 3D print downloadable files. I think they are available on the doc site.
Yeah, and on Thingiverse.
And on Thingiverse, yeah. Search for MakeKit or Catamaran or Microbit Catamaran.
Yeah.
And here is, if you see on the back here, it says gyro control. So this is using the gyro in the new Airbit tube control board to make the boat run perfectly straight all the time. So you don't have problems with spinning, drifting. You know, it will keep very steady direction and will be much easier to control thanks to the gyro.
Yes.
And should we talk about the code now? Okay, so I want to take you guys through the new code. So this is something I wanted to do for a very long time actually. Maybe for at least 5 years, maybe even 10 years. Always wanted to have full control over the code. So I wanted to do everything from scratch. I wanted to have full control over every little part of the drone code, the drone's brain, understand how everything works, have all the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, and we can, if we focus a little bit on why you're thinking that way, because most drones today, you don't really control, even the ones that you can go into the code, you don't really control the code. You only what you are doing is telling the radio what to do. So you're not really understanding what the code is actually doing. And the great thing, if you can actually go into the code, is to create more understanding of what the drone doing and why it's doing that particular thing. And we had this question before from teachers and from educators from different parts of the world, so how does it actually work when we are communicating with a radio to the Airbit? What's happening in the Airbit to make that motor run faster? And that is what we can actually do today, and also, you can explain to the students.
And also people ask, okay, so what is the microbit really doing this, or is it getting help? And we always had to say, well, it's acting as a radio, it's acting as a battery protection, it's doing this and that, but it has some help, it has another computer. And they said, oh, but and you can also there a little bit of disappointment, because you want to be able to say that the microbit is good enough to do everything, to do the hard nitty-gritty stabilization work, because stabilization is making sure that the drone is always leveled, always flying very stable, being stable. And this is kind of people are thinking in this of very complicated equations that has to be run at a very high speed, right? So what happened was that when Microbit 2 came around, there was a significant upgrade in the speed and memory for the Microbit 2. So that's when we thought, okay, but there shouldn't be no problem for the Microbit 2 to be the main brain of a drone. And it might even work for Microbit 1. We haven't confirmed yet if it will work on the Microbit 1, but we are currently working, developing it for the Microbit 2. So just let me take you through the code. This is actually how a drone really works. So I don't know if you can see the small letters. I can zoom in a little bit. So you have in the drone you have a main loop, which is what the main work repeatingly all the time. It's like a forever loop, repeating and repeating. And what this main loop is the core of the whole stabilization, the whole shebang, the whole brain, the main thing. Okay, so the main loop. So what is this main loop doing? So okay, first it's receiving the radio, the roll, the pitch, the arm, and the yaw. That's the control, the directions. So just taking you through in case, just a recap. You have the roll, you have the roll, you have the pitch, you have the yaw, and you have the throttle. So what we do in the code, first we just receive those values from the radio. So if there is a letter P, then we know that pitch is the value. This is if you have ever been coding the transmitter, this is what is happening on the other side. So if you're coding the transmitter first, then this will be on the other side. So once it has the directions to know where you want it to go, it will do a sensor read. So it will read from the gyroscope, accelerometer, and altitude sensor. And these sensors will be on the control board. So these sensors will be placed under the microbit on the other card that is under here. So when it knows the angles, or it knows the raw data from the sensors, it will calculate the angles. So it will calculate what's the true roll and pitch angle of the drone. What's the exact angle the drone has right now? Is it 0, 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 5, 3.2, and so on? And when it has calculated this absolute angle, the next step is to do the stabilization. Here is where this, PID, mystical PID algorithm is. And one of the things I love about coding is if you Google PID algorithms, you get a very, very complicated equation that looks very, very Greek. I will see if I can find it right now. So there is a very complicated, or there is a formula that looks very complicated. Kind of looks like this. Let me see if I can. It's loading. Yeah, so it kind of looks like this. So you guys that are watching right now, you might be, university master in math, but if you're not, this equation is quite complex, right? I would say for me it's like Einstein level of complexity. But the awesome thing is that if you just go into the code, it suddenly makes all sense, and it suddenly you are, you can't believe how simple this is as a code. And that's one of the things I discovered when I was doing the code for the MicroBit 2 is how simple the stabilization algorithm really is. It's much, much simpler than you would expect. So that's just one of my biggest eureka moments during the development. And then let's go into the next stage of the code. So after you have been doing the stabilization, the PID, and learned everything about that, and feeling a lot smarter because you now understand control theory, which is a universal application. And then you have the motor speed, which is simply telling the control board how fast to run the different motors. So you have 4 motors, and you have to tell them exactly how fast to go each one of them. So that's the last stage, and then so the microbit will send the signal to the control board, and the control board will distribute the information to all the 4 motors. And everything, all the details will be available in the code. So what you see now is, I have collapsed the different parts of the code. So what you will do is you can go in here, you can, expand one on one of them, explore, taking one at a time, so it doesn't become too overwhelming. We also have some graphic functions that, what do you want to show on the screen? Do you want to show a battery level? Do you want to show the angles? Do you want to show messages or the temperature or something else? It's totally up to you, but here are the main graphics functions that we are running on the drone. So we're kind of organizing everything into, you know, chunks, like you can see here. Yes, so should we talk about sensors?
Yeah.
Sensor kit?
Yeah, because with the new Airbit 2, we also are going to launch a brand new Airbit 2 sensor kit. Now, in this kit, you will be able to unleash a lot of possibilities. So we can just say what it's going to imply. It's going to have a LiDAR as a collision sensor. And what that means is that the Airbit can actually maneuver, and you can detect walls, you can detect people, those sorts of things. It will have a LED NeoPixel. It will have a micro servo. So that means that you have a bunch of possibilities, and you can here see one of them. This is like the LiDAR function, so you can actually code the drone so you can maneuver through a building.
Yeah. So you can actually find its own path through a corridor. So what you will have is that you will have a LiDAR in front, so it will point forward and can detect obstacles up to 5 meters. Because these sensors are getting better and better every day, so the latest version of the sensor can go, before it was 2 meters, but now it's 5 actually. So it can see obstacles up to 5 meters, and what you will do is that you will code. So if you detect something that is closer than, say, 3 meters, you turn around until you have something that is, you have a longer distance, and when you have a longer distance, you start to move forward. And then you move forward until you have an obstacle again, and then you turn around, look for openings until you have a new opening. And this is something that we really think is going to be a fun and exciting challenge for the classrooms, and also for the enthusiasts and hobbyists out there who just loves technology and tinkering.
Yeah, and it's about really, we have a quite low it's a low roof, high ceiling type of product, and now we are raising the ceiling even further. You'll be able to do quite advanced coding, and you have a totally different drone, really, with autonomous flight.
Yeah. And even with the micro servo, you know, you can have, you know, drop things like packages. We also have something else that is quite spectacular, you could say. It's, should we say, it's Proto Plus type, or
Proto Plus type? Well, yeah, I don't think it's prototype. This is like part of what you can do as a project.
Yeah.
So if you, the whole idea behind all our kits is really they are of course environmentally friendly, and they are maker friendly, meaning that you build it and then you understand how it works, and then you can keep on developing it. And this is one of those projects.
Yeah. So okay. So you guys. I want you guys to guess. So is it orange peeling machine using the propellers, or is it B, fire extinguisher with onboard water pump? Or is it number 3, flying rubber gun? So which one do you think? Is it A, B, or C? It could be anything.
Yeah, really. All of those projects are possible.
Okay, are you guys ready for the answer? Ta-ta-ra-ta-ra. Let's go.
Let's do that one more time, I think. Let's do that one more time.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope you saw that. So, that was the rubber fly gun. Now we have one more package that is important to talk about, and that is the Airbit 2 Fly More kit. Now, one of our philosophies here is that we would like our kits to have as long lifetime as possible. Therefore, we are also launching Airbit 2 Fly More kit. This is part of being sustainable, and this package comes with spare parts that you might need. It also comes with an extra battery, prolonging your fly time. So this is part of the gun that we were talking about
Just
earlier.
so you guys know that we are not joking, this is not April 1st, so it goes like this, and it mounts on the top here. And it will have a little micro servo, and yeah, and it's actually it's important to have a low weight, so it's a very it's light enough to be lifted.
Quite sleek.
And fortunately rubber bands are quite lightweight as well.
Yeah. Now I think we are coming towards the end. So for you guys who are following us, leave comments in the comment section, and
More questions out
Yeah,
there?
if you have some questions, leave those. And
When will the Airbit 2 be available?
Yeah, that's a question. So the Airbit 2 will be available in January next year. Yeah. So
But if you guys want to be pioneering beta testers, and if you think you can contribute with something like testing, coding, developing new stuff for it, you can reach out. We might be able to send you a prototype, which you can be one of the first people to use.
Yeah, so please let us know if you want to be participating and develop code for the Airbit 2. Then you can get an early Christmas present from us. Now we have one last thing, and that is the bundle kit that is also available in the shop. This is part of the Microbit portfolio. So if you would like both the Airbit and Hoverbit, I think this is a cool option to get. You get one Microbit, one Airbit, one Hoverbit. If you have one Microbit already, then you can use the other one as a controller. So here you actually get the Microbit V2 as well. Now that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching this broadcast, and we will of course be back with more news about the Airbit 2 as soon as we can, really, because this is so cool, and we are now at the stage that it's starting to really take off, and we are looking forward to show you more of the Airbit 2's capabilities.
MakeKit Technical Center asks if the Airbit 2 can fire more than one rubber band at a time.
Yeah, so we have one question here, and that is if the Airbit 2 can fire more than one rubber band at a time. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, so the prototype actually was able to shoot 2 rubber bands.
Yeah.
So hopefully it should be able to. Well, we have proved that it can fire 2, so
Yeah.
that's
So
okay.
it's a yes.
If it's important to you guys, then let's do 2.
Or 3.
Or 3, maybe.
Yeah.
But double barrel is maybe easier than triple. But yeah.
Yeah. Good. Any other questions?
We have no more questions, but multiple people who are interested in being beta testers.
So we
Awesome.
That's awesome. Okay.
Because actually, you guys that are watching this right now, we have to, thank you a lot, because you are really pioneering also, because because you're early, and everyone else will know this later. But you guys, you actually were present live, which is really, I mean, it's always great to know that some people know their besøkelsestid.
Yeah.
Yes, I-
No, the visiting
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you want to get some discounts, use that code today and you get 50%. Thank you so much. Yeah, and have a great day from us here at MakeKit.
And happy making.
Yeah.